Hello lovely people, welcome to the video. My name is Athena. I am a brand new writer working on my first book whilst homeschooling my two girls and being with them 24/7. Fun times all round. So, where are we even today? What is the progress? What are we doing? It is January the 13th. It is a Monday. We are starting a new week. Halfway through January. I don't know where time has gone. But anyway. So, let's talk a little bit about my previous plan, my old plan, what I wanted to do with my writing. I am currently writing a fantasy romance for anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about very quickly. Fantasy romance, a little heavier on the fantasy right now than the romance, but we are working on that and making improvements. Draft 3, which is a complete rewrite, the final rewrite I am doing. The next draft will be an editing revision of the document itself, the manuscript itself. I am not going to be rewriting again. It is a lot of work rewriting. However, where I'm currently, my current progress basically is I am adding information, changing things, moving scenes around. I've completely rewritten the first bunch of scenes in Act 1. So I had to, that had to be a rewrite. Of course, that was like a full write, not a rewrite. And then I have to kind of mold everything to fit that, and my brain just functions better with me rewriting a scene and moving things around, like reading the scene as it was, reading my notes, and then just rewriting it as it needs to be right now. I can't just kind of like go into the draft and be like, okay, this is where I need to add information, I'm just going to add it in there, or I need to copy paste this down here, and then it just yeah. I couldn't handle that. So I decided to go with a full rewrite, which is working spectacularly as far as that is concerned. But it is a lot of work and is time consuming to actually be rewriting everything, even the scenes that have minimal changes, but it just feels better for me. It feels right for me. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. So the plan was that I would be done with draft 3 by the end of January. That was based on the fact that I was doing the Paul Ryko challenge for 2024. Starting in November, so November, December, January. November was planning, December, January would have been writing. My nephew was born and everything kind of went haywire after Christmas, so I did not get near as much as I had to in December. And January now I've picked up my pace. So, battery died, that is all good. What was I even talking about? I think I was talking about Paul Ryko 2024 and how, yeah, so I had planned on finishing draft 3 at the end of January. That was like the general Paul Ryko, how it was gonna go, November editing, writing, all that fun stuff. It is the 13th of January. There is no way, not even in the most delusional writing plan, that I could tackle this by the end of January. It is not possible. It is not humanly possible. I would just drive myself crazy, even attempting to do that. So, reevaluating and taking a step back, I realigned my goals with my existence right now. I did one thing that I feel kind of helped me and made me feel better. And I did it in a funny way. I have to show you guys, it's just funny. So I printed a bunch of calendars, a bunch of annual calendars. I have my 2024, so I had done, let me see if I can find the old version, where is it? Okay, I have the new one and then I have the old version. Why do I have new and old? I will explain in a second. So I have my brand new ones and then I have my, okay, get another interruption, but hey, what are we doing? Okay, so I initially printed out these two. So I have a 2024 and a 2025 calendar. The logic was I wanted to mark how long it took me to do each draft and how long I kind of planned on taking, etc. So I kind of started out with this, and this, I used a different kind of color here, and then I use different pens, and it looks messy. I like my everything to be pretty. It's a thing when it comes to stationery. I can't just jump into planners, for example. I need them to be nice and clean, which means I don't use planners very well. Anyway, so I decided, I kind of grabbed this, and then I kind of grabbed a 2025 version, and I started marking the days that I had actually done my draft 3. Now draft 3 was in purple, right up here at the top. And I was like, you know what? I need to clean this up, okay? I need to clean my 2024 up, and I need to kind of maybe test out how long I want to focus on different drafts, revisions, etc. So what I did was I printed out a nice new set of 2024, 2025. 2025 is empty, look at it, nice and clean. It's all empty. I grabbed my 2024 and I redid it. I've color-coded my drafts up here, so draft 1, 2, and 3, and then I marked them here. So these are actually like time that I've spent writing. So I didn't do any writing in, when was it? November? Yeah, November was like planning, etc. I didn't count that, like prepping. So this is how long it's taken me to do various drafts. So draft 1, April, May, and a little bit of June. Then from the 12th of June, I started writing. Bear in mind, I moved in August. I moved country in August. So August and September were very weird months. I finished draft 2 at the end of October. So I marked that in nicely with colors and color-coded. I love it. And then I marked draft 3. Starting draft 3 in December. So 2024 is looking lovely. I love it. Then when it got to like planning ahead in 2025, I chickened out. I couldn't do it. I was like, ah. So what I did do was I grabbed the old version. And in order to make it an old version, I just wrote test at the top. I just wrote test. And the moment I wrote test on it, my brain was like, okay, that's fine. It's already ruined. It's done. Like you can't use it as a clear-cut, perfect, version. So you can just do whatever. And I did. I kind of color-coded and I went ahead and I marked, for example, this is just, very. So I marked in January that I've already started doing stuff in January. I marked that I'm probably going to be working on draft 3 for the entirety of January as well as February. I'm being realistic here. I'm trying my best. So January, February is where we're going to be finishing draft 3. Then I kind of gave myself a bit of like a 1 week, maybe 10-day window of just not marking anything, reading, going over it, making notes, that kind of thing, and jumping into revisions. And I have set revisions. For some reason, I give myself 2 months for revisions. So somewhere mid-May. I had wanted to be closer to done in April, but I'm realizing that that is extremely delusional. So I kind of marked that. Then I marked June as another revision, like another going over it, really going to town on it, that kind of thing. But I only gave myself 1 month for this like second revision, 5th draft technically. Then I left July just completely blank. I was like, I need a buffer. I need time in between. Who knows how long this is actually gonna take. I just, my brain needs that time to maybe, evaluate something, maybe another edit, that kind of thing. But I didn't want to mark it in necessarily. I kind of went a bit delusional, just a little bit. And then I marked August with the black pen and I wrote query prep. So this is kind of like a little plan of how ideally I would want this to go. I would want to start prepping my query, not start querying in August. Let's not, I would want to start prepping my query and kind of getting into that, research and all that fun stuff. But that's way down the line. We're not even, So the fact that I had this as a rough draft kind of page allowed me to mark these down and feel okay about it. So it made me feel safe to mark it. I can't mark new, pristine, clean, like this is nice, my new clean 2024. But my 2025 looks so nice right now. And I really want to mark it and set it up properly, like as I have done here. It's just, my brain is like, but it's nice and clean. And what if you have to change it? Technically, I can just print a new one and do it again if I have to change it. That does make me feel a little bit better. But still, But once I did this is the crux of this. This is where I want to get to. So once I did this and I had like this plan, basically, like where I kind of looked at the big picture for a bit, it made me really, really excited about this story. It made me really want to jump in and just really just do stuff. Like, I don't know, it just reignited my excitement. It made it feel more real, I think. That was the thing. So despite the fact that I'm technically behind when it comes to my old plan, I am now feeling okay because I have a new plan that feels realistic, if that makes sense. So I have 25 scenes left out of the first part of my book, my fantasy romance. It kind of breaks up naturally into 3 parts, part 1, part 2, part 3. And I am currently sitting at, I've done 29 scenes. I have 25 scenes left of part 1. And just so you have an idea when it comes to structure, part 1 is act 1 plus a good part of act 2, like a small part of act 2, actually not too big of a part, but still there is pieces of Act 2 in there as well. So it's not completely like 3-act structure. It's not like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. It's kind of separated differently, which is a natural separation, really. Now, oh gosh, so my plan right now is that I'm gonna finish these 25 scenes by the end of the week. Is that plausible? I did, over the past 3 days, more scenes than I had done in the like entirety of December and January, like the entire December. So revision scenes that don't need like too much work. They're not new scenes. They're not like ginormous amounts of information being added. It's just rewriting, moving things around, getting it to look nice and in the right chronological order. Just like that developmental kind of editing. I think I can get through quite quickly. Out of 25 scenes, 1 scene is brand new. And I'm looking up at my board here, just so you know, if I'm looking up, it's kind of the way my brain can function. So 1 scene is brand new. There is another scene that I have in my head that I want to write. I haven't prepped a scene card for. I might do that later today. I really like it as a scene and I want to add it in because it has to do with the romance. It adds a lot to the romance aspect of it, because right now my book is very heavy on the fantasy side of it. And I really feel like I need to add more to that as well, to the romance side. Goal of the week, 25 scenes. And once I'm done with that, I feel like, because technically, let me see, where's my, okay. So, because this is the 13th. So I would be done by the 19th of January, I would be done with this like first part. And then on the 20th, I would start the second part, which is a bit chunkier, but it's also, how can I put this? It's more well written, as in it was much better written in the first draft than the first half of the book. The first half of the book was terrible in the first draft. The second draft, I really, like, I had a lot to work with. So it was a rewrite, but there was a lot of good stuff to work with. And these scenes now going into the third draft, I feel will be easier because they're already quite close to what I want them to be for a draft 3. Basically, because we're not looking for perfection here, we are looking for the developmental aspects. I want the story to make sense. I want all the moving pieces to be in place so that then I can just revise the actual manuscript. I've said that 1,000 times, I will probably say it another 1,000. So I'm tentatively hoping that I will find myself in early February having done part 2 and then tackle part 3 in the last 3 weeks of February. That's kind of where I'm sitting. I think that's realistic because, again, probably the last few scenes of part 3 are going to need a lot more work, but not all of them. So it's not, I don't have as many new scenes anymore. Part 2 barely has any. Like, I think it has that many new scenes. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I do think like this is a very realistic goal, a very realistic plan, and that is what makes me feel happy. So just a quick little thing of where I am right now. I have finished 15 chapters. I am at 30,000 words. Draft 2 was 124,000 words. The chapter that I'm currently, like the scene that I have just written as chapter 15 in draft 2 was chapter 8. And I think it was around 25,000 words at the time. So definitely have added words, definitely have added descriptions and just emotions and a lot of interiority as well. I'm kind of like, I'm terrified that it's going to be huge. I know it's going to be huge. I know draft 3 is going to be ginormous, and I know that draft 4 is going to be all about cutting it down. Okay, it's going to be all about removing what does not need to be there. You know, like really honing in on it and being like, okay, I have all the moving parts in front of me now. Now we need to figure out how the story is going to flow nicely and have only what it needs. You know, like exactly what it needs. Nothing more, nothing less. And I already find myself, as I rewrite certain scenes that are already pretty much done, but they're just like minor tweaks and changes, I'm already realizing that some scenes start way too early, 2-3 paragraphs earlier. They don't need those 2-3 paragraphs, you know? Or they end, like they kind of drag on at the end. I'm like, we don't need to like do this whole process of saying goodnight to each other and going to bed. Just be like, okay, and they were off to bed, like that's it. So just, you know, little things like that. So I'm currently sitting at 30,000 words, as I said, 15 chapters. I am rearranging, moving around chapters, etc. I don't mind a lot of chapters. I do like, personally as a reader, I do like books with a lot of chapters. I feel that a chapter with 5 to 7 pages is the sweet spot for me. I don't mind if a book has 100 chapters and they're all like 5 to 7 pages long. I will happily just devour the entire book probably in one day because it's just so easy to fly through each chapter. It's a brain trick, I think, because I have read books with longer chapters where they're like standard, like 10 to 12 pages. There was one, I think it was the Prison Healer. So the Prison Healer, there is one chapter near the end where it's 30 pages long. I think it was like 28 to 30 pages, something like that. It was insane. However, with that being said, I saw it and I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, I flew by it though. Like I just flew through it. It was one whole scene. You could not cut that scene anywhere. Like there was no way you could break that scene into separate chapters or anything. It was just one continuous thing that had to be that way. It made sense. And I read through it like a crazy person. There are other chapters that are like normal flow, normal pace, that is just like, you don't need this to be 12 pages long. You could break it up, make it 6 pages, 2 chapters, you know, separate it naturally somewhere. Give it a bit of, you know, just a little break, a little breather, a little like reward that, look, you're done with the chapter. I'm pretty sure that's kind of what it is. I think it's like this reward system where you're like, I finished another chapter, and then you dive into the next one. It's just, yeah. So I'm not too worried about my chapters. There are a couple that are quite big, and I might, you know, but I'm not worrying too much about like being very, very like, okay, these are the chapters, these are how they have to be. That's it. I'm kind of like going with the flow as I rewrite it and allowing the chapters to create themselves based on the scenes and how they work together and how they flow. Again, chapters, all that kind of thing will be reworked in draft 4, clearly because of the POV that I'm contemplating removing, as well as probably one of the like plot lines. It is technically a main plot line, but it can be removed to kind of shorten it a bit and, you know, tighten it a little bit. I don't know. We will see. We will see. That's a lot of future talk. Okay, get another interruption. I'm going to take that, use that to my advantage. So, all in all, I'm going to work out my chapters at this point. This is my plan moving forward. This is what I'm doing this week. I'm going to start with just arranging my chapters, arranging the scenes, writing the 25 scenes into their, you know, chapters. I am going to be trying to include 2 POVs in one chapter, which I haven't done before. I don't know if you... I'm not a crazy fan of that process in other books, so I'm just gonna see how it goes. It does make sense logically because it's kind of the same scene and just flows between the 2 POVs, and they're short pieces, like short scenes, but it makes sense that way. So I'm gonna try. If it doesn't work out as one chapter, putting them together, like the 2 POVs together, I might just have to completely switch to one person's POV only, and you know, we'll see, we'll see. All in all, I am feeling excited. I am feeling like I'm making progress. I'm trying to be realistic. I really, really, really want to finish this book this year and really want to kind of jump into the querying process by the end of the year. It is delusional. It is insane. I know. I like setting high goals for myself. But I'm realizing the more I set realistic goals, the better it is for me. So I don't think it's completely delusional. It's not completely delusional. And I think that's kind of what kind of keeps me going. Because I feel like if I get through the revisions the way I think I will, then I will be able to do it. Because even if I add an extra revision, even if I'm also getting a bit frustrated because, you know, the more you get interrupted and lose your train of thought, my ADHD brain hates it. So, all in all, that is where we are right now. We are sitting at 30,000 words. I am terrified as to how many words this draft will end up at being. I'm not going to focus on that. It's not about the word count right now. It's about making sure that everything is as it should be. Like all the parts are in there. Not everything needs, so this is, okay, it's like this little balance of things that as a writer, I need to have in the story right now so that it can make cohesive sense to me so I can then edit it to make sense for the reader. And then there's things that actually really have absolutely need to be in there. So when I say draft 3 will have everything it needs in it, it is not necessarily everything the book needs. It's everything I need for it to have in it. And then draft 4 will be the draft where I remove everything that doesn't need to be in the book, but needed to be written down within the story for me to be able to tackle everything, if that makes sense. So I am cool. I am excited. I think my plan for the end of February will be okay. We're focusing on this week at this point. I'm also going to try, and this is my second and main goal when it comes to anything at all this week, I'm going to try and do a writing vlog, like an actual writing vlog, of vlogging my writing. Now, bear in mind, I write whenever I can, whenever I get the chance, whenever I find time. So a lot of it might be just me filming myself writing, etc., and doing maybe a voiceover or a quick clip of, you know, so I don't know how it's gonna go, but I will try and do that and just show you guys how I write, which is kind of all over the place and cray. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna try. I think it'll be fun. So with that being said, I have my bazillion calendars, my plans set out. Write down your goals, write down your plans. It helps. I really feel like this helped me just kind of get unstuck and feel like it's okay. Like it's a short amount of time. It's not that bad. Because in my head, I think I kind of thought, oh my gosh, if I'm not done by January, then when will I, I'll be running late and running behind, and when will I finish? It's actually pretty, I started writing in April. I moved country in August, okay? There's been just so many things happening in the past few months that the fact that I've even managed to get where I am right now is amazing, okay? So I'm gonna take my wins. That's what I'm gonna do. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.